Welcome to another episode of Life for Food. As you can see, we have a special guest here today, my brother!
Hi.
His name is Paolo, and his girlfriend, Mikhai! Hi! So we're all gonna be learning how to make sushi.
So I guess it's my show now. We have some avocado here. We have some crab meat that I've already cut some, and some green onions. So what? Oh, and we have some salmon being made by Faye over there. We're going to make a California roll, some cooked salmon sushi roll, and then maybe a little bit of a veggie roll with avocado and cucumber. Does this sound good, David?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You want a cucumber? Okay, there you go. We'll start off with the crab roll or California roll. So I've already started chopping up some of the crab meat that we have here. I'm gonna mix it with Japanese mayo and the green onion. And then also we'll add a little bit of sriracha to make it a little bit spicy at the end. We're gonna use all this Japanese mayo because we want it really to like to stick the crab meat and the green onion together, and it tastes really good too. And I'm sure it's healthy. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is a good amount. I'm not measuring anything. I'm just I'm going by my taste, how I like things. You can do whatever you want. And I have these gloves because it's easier to just mix it with your hands. And it's more fun too. We're gonna need a little more crab meat to mix in here. I'm gonna chop up a bit more crab meat so we get, so it's even. We don't want the mayo to overpower the mixture because it is kind of strong. And then after I have a little more crab meat over here, we can make some just regular crab and cucumber rolls. We want to cut the crab meat into as small pieces as possible. Normally I would like it a little tinier pieces, diced, if that's the word. But I'm not really good with a knife, so I'll make do. Does that look good now?
No?
It tastes good, I promise. Okay? Do you believe me?
No.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna add this to the mix that we have. So yeah, like I said, you can make all different kinds of sushi. What I'm most used to is this crab meat. I put raw salmon in there sometimes, raw tuna. Or I like to make the rainbow roll where you can put mix it all. Some more cucumber? Okay, hold on. You can put a mixture of tuna, salmon, avocado on top with the crab meat inside. But yeah, you can just, if you want to add like, I don't know, get weird and put like sausage or something, you can do that. It's all up to you. It won't taste good, but. And then while we are prepping this, we started on the sushi rice so that we could have that cooking while we're prepping everything else, because prepping sushi takes the longest time, and then putting it all together, which is the fun part, that doesn't take that long if you know what you're doing, and you will after you watch this. So some more. Okay. Yeah, we like I said, we have the sushi rice going, or we cooked the white rice already, and then to make it sushi rice, we added a mixture of 3 cups of water, half a cup of rice vinegar, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of vegetable oil. Those measurements are for typically for 2 cups of rice, but we made 3 just so we could make more sushi because we're all really hungry. So the crab mix is just about done. And now I can finish seasoning the rice, and then we can start putting it all together. So yeah, all our toppings are pretty much done. Now it's just about getting them all together and putting them on the seaweed, which is the fun part. To finish off the sushi rice, we have the mixture that I talked about before. I'm just gonna dump it all into our 3 cups of rice and then mix it all together with my hands again because it's fun. and I'm a child. We have all the mixture in there. I'm just gonna mix it all together. When you've made the rice, you want to make sure that it's cooled off before you do this, or else you will burn yourself. If you have enough rice, it should soak up all the seasoning, and then you just let it sit and cool, and then it'll just soak it all up, and then you can start mixing it into, or you can start molding it into your sushi rolls. So we'll just give this a little bit of time. We'll set this aside for now, and then I can get the seaweed and the wasabi ready. If you want it to cool down faster, what you can do is get like a metal pan or like a flat surface with a baking sheet or aluminum foil. Just spread it out along the surface and just keep it flat. So we'll let it breathe a bit more. All right, so I'm just gonna flatten this out. Yeah, you want it sticky, but not mushy or too wet, because if it's mushy and wet, it won't stick to the seaweed.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna put this aside for now. Oh, thank you, assistant. For the sushi rolls, you want the long, like the large sheets of seaweed, and you're going to cut them in half. So each sheet translates to 2 sushi rolls, depending on what size you want. If you want to make like a sushi burrito, you can like put 5 of these together and then just roll it all. But we're not going to do that. You can also make hand rolls with these, like with the cones. Those were my specialty back in the day. It's very complicated. You just fold them in half and then break them. There you go. 8 sushi rolls ready to go. One of the reasons why we started the sushi rice early, as you can see, is that it's still not ready. The sushi rice always has to be the first thing that you do, so it can cook and sit while you're preparing everything else, because preparing everything else takes a long time too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare some avocado. We're gonna make one of these with avocado inside and another one with avocado on top. And you'll see how that's done. Oh, this is a good one. I'll prepare the cucumber at the same time. So I've already cut some of them. You want to cut them lengthwise so they fit in the roll naturally. If you want to see how that works so I can kill time, you're going to take a mini cucumber, cut the ends off. What are you doing back there? You cut the ends off.
Sorry.
Hey, there's no laughing in the kitchen. You can leave your friends behind. So you cut it in half lengthwise, cut it in half again, and then you cut it in quarters. You want to hold it against the other half so it doesn't move, and ideally you want a very sharp knife. Then you flip it around, then you do it again. That's like one sushi roll right there. Similar, you cut the ends off, and then you take the skin off. This one is not cooperating. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna make a couple of sushi cones too. I think it looks nicer if you cut the cucumbers a little bit differently. All the ingredients are ready now. Salmon is cooked, thanks Faye. So we're gonna take a bit of a assembly line approach. This is the fun part. Now we're finally assembling it. I like to wear gloves because it's easier to mold the sushi when you're wearing gloves. We're going to take a bit, maybe like a small handful of sushi rice, a little bit more than that. We'll make these a little hefty. So about that much sushi rice. It can get messy, it's fine. Half the fun of making the sushi is cleaning it up after. So you're going to slap it onto the seaweed, and then you're going to gently, don't like smash it, but like massage it onto the seaweed evenly and leave a little flap. These have lines. I don't know if you can see the lines on the seaweed, but just leave one full line. So leave that much space from the top, and you will see why soon. And you want to make sure that you've covered all the edges as well. You don't want to see any of the green left. Ideally, I mean, it looks nicer. The finished product looks nicer when you do that. So before you flip them over, you want to sprinkle a little bit of cold water onto your working area because the rice will stick to the counter and you don't want it coming off the sushi when you start rolling it. So I'm gonna sprinkle water and then flip it over. Sprinkle water and then flip it over. We flipped over all our sushi. All our flaps are pointing down. What we're gonna do now is take a little bit of wasabi. I'll make these 3 with wasabi. And it's not a lot of wasabi, it's just to give it a tiny bit of kick. You can obviously add more wasabi later. You wanna spread the wasabi evenly in a line lengthwise across the sushi roll because think about it, when you're cutting them this way, you don't want like a giant mass of wasabi in one spot because you're gonna bite one piece of the maki with a huge kick of wasabi. So now we're going to spread the crab mix over the sushi rolls. You don't want it to be overpowering, so it's just maybe like an ounce. How much is an ounce? Is that an ounce? Sure. Okay, so you're going to start in the middle and then just like you did with the rice, gently massage it across lengthwise down the roll. You might be tempted to like really stack it with a lot of crab mix or a lot of salmon or whatever you want in your roll, but if that's the case, just make more because then if you put too much in the middle of the roll, you're going to have serious problems trying to roll it and close it later. So don't go too crazy. And then I think on the last 1 or 2, we'll put some cooked salmon on there just for fun. Just take some cooked salmon out of the pan, manipulate it a bit so it's filling the middle of the sushi roll. In your California rolls, you're gonna add a little bit of cucumber, so just 1 along the length again of the sushi roll. I'm gonna leave the salmon ones alone because those are already pretty fat. If you remember, our flaps are all pointing down. When you roll it, you'll be able to use the cucumber as a handhold almost when you're trying to close the sushi roll. When we move on to the next step, you'll be able to see if I don't screw it up. So you're gonna take a bamboo net and wrap it with plastic wrap so the grains of rice don't get stuck in the bamboo, like the gaps, because that'll mess up your sushi. And if you remember, we sprinkled water onto the table so that the rice doesn't stick when we try to lift it. So hopefully it worked. I'm gonna try and move it gently. Let's start with the salmon one. You want the flap to align with the bottom side of the bamboo wrap. And you're going to pinch the flap and pinch the bamboo wrap. But here we go. So we're gonna roll it over and then close the gap. So where the cucumber will be, you're going to pinch the first part of the roll and make almost like a square and then hold it so it sticks. And then once that's done, the flap, if you can see, oh no, the plastic's coming off. So the flap that we left should be covering all of the ingredients inside. And then you grab just the bamboo wrap and then you roll it over and then you close it. Then you squeeze it together again. So just hold it a little bit for a couple seconds so that it stays together. And then you remove it and you have the first stage of the finished sushi roll. It's closed. You can't see the seaweed too much because I tried to cover it evenly with the rice. So you can leave that there. First one's done. Then you just rinse and repeat. So gently. Yep. Okay. Gently lift as if you're like taking tape. Okay. As if you're like trying to take a full piece of tape and not like bits of tape off a. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So pin this thing.
Yeah. So take the flap, pinch it to the bottom of the bamboo. Okay. Okay. So 2 fingers. Okay. Yeah. And then hold the cucumber in place. Then bring it over and make a wall.
God.
You just gotta commit. You just have to commit.
Yeah.
Yep, squeeze it.
Yeah.
Down. That's okay.
Close,
Yeah,
close.
you can use those fingers to push it in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one might have had a little too much crab meat, so
Yeah.
that's not your fault.
Okay. We're being
Um,
very.
So, wait.
Okay. Oh no.
It's all inside.
Try and fix it.
Okay.
It's okay. So,
Okay.
um,
Now we'll all
Okay.
which ones want to roll.
we'll try and even it out a bit.
Okay.
There. Okay.
Okay. It's
Now-
not. It's definitely not as like compact.
That's okay.
Okay. So just like.
And
lift
then,
it.
so take the bamboo roll, and then as you're holding it down, pull it. So
Pull.
it, yeah.
Okay.
And then squeeze it.
Right away. Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
It's
I don't know how
actually
this.
pretty hard.
It is. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest.
Oh wow,
part.
you did it.
Oh wow.
Yay!
Congrats.
Good job. For the ones that I'm going to cover with avocado, you're gonna slice thin pieces and go across the length of the sushi roll. So I'm just gonna go through the full process right away before I go through the rest. This one I've covered with avocado. I'm gonna take a very short strip of plastic wrap. You can cut it. Sorry. I'm gonna cover the sushi roll and take the unwrapped bamboo net, and I'm gonna cover it. Put a little bit of pressure again, not squeezing, just enough to attach the avocado to the roll, as well as the plastic wrap. And I'm going to pack the sides in so it doesn't fall apart when I'm cutting it. Okay, so now that it's covered, I'm gonna wet my knife with a little bit of cold water. You're gonna want a really, really sharp knife to cut the sushi. You want to just cut really quickly. It's usually easier when you when the knife is sharper. If you have a knife that's not that sharp, you could end up mushing the sushi down. You don't want to press when you're cutting it. You kind of just want to like use the weight of the knife, or let gravity cut it for you while you're sawing it, I guess. Okay, cool. So that's all cut. I'm gonna take the unwrapped bamboo net again. I'm gonna shape it. I'm gonna shape the sushi again. And I'm going to remove the plastic because it doesn't taste good. And there's your first sushi roll. You can see the cucumber and then the crab meat. There you go, sushi. So always remember when you're gonna make sushi that it's gonna get messy. There's a lot of prep time. Assembly doesn't take as long, although it is tricky to master. Make sure everything is clean because raw fish, especially if you're dealing, well, we didn't deal with any raw fish today, but if you're dealing with raw fish, that can make you sick if you don't do it properly, so be safe. So the things that you will 100% always have to have are your bamboo nets to roll your sushi. You're going to need rice, obviously. A really, really sharp knife. I'm saying a sharp knife, but this one isn't. You're going to need plastic wrap to help you mold your sushi. Seaweed sheets, so not those little tiny ones that come in like snack sizes. You're gonna need whatever you want to have in your sushi. So whether it's like veggies, avocado, cucumber, it's optional. Fish, salmon, tuna, crab mix. You don't need to have some sauce or like seasoning, but it's always good to have like at least soy sauce or teriyaki or spicy mayo.
Sometimes the things worth doing are very, very time consuming. Sushi is one of those things. But thank you again so much for coming. It was so nice to have you. My belly thanks you. We're so excited to have sushi. See you on the other side of baking.
Baking?
See you on the other side of sushi.